Welcome to Drum Addicts on Andertons TV. I'm Rob, this is Jules from Roland, and we're going to revamp a vintage TD kit, aren't we? So Roland released the TD50 as their new flagship kit, and it came in a couple of different versions, didn't it?
That's right.
One of the versions is the Upgrade Pack, so the DP. So what does it comprise of? Let's pass it over one at a time, and we'll talk about it.
So TD50 KV, TD50K are the two kits, but you can buy the TD50 DP, which is digital pack, which consists of one TD50 module,
very nice,
one PD140 DS digital snare, 14-inch 3-ply mesh heads,
cool,
and one CY18DR digital ride 18-inch USB connection digital, same as the snare drum, and that is the contents of the TD50 DP pack.
So the Upgrade Pack will give you the module, which is the important bit, and you cannot plug these two pieces of hardware into any other module because you need the USB cables. But the module has to be able to take them. That's more just the cables. So, as a pack, you can add this to any kit, can't you?
Absolutely. Any V-Drums kit, past or present, pretty much that you can think of, could probably benefit from a TD50 DP upgrade.
So you get all the features of this bad boy and the two bits of hardware, but it isn't crazy money like buying the flagship is. So we've got this lovely prepared drum kit, which is very well seasoned and dusty, and we're just going to revamp it, aren't we? We're going to give it some love. So when you've got an acoustic kit and you've got some tired old pinstripes or something on it, when you rehead it, you fall in love with it again. You have that, oh, I remember that sound, or I recorded that then, or played in that gig. So we're just going to revamp this and hopefully fall in love with this again. So what's the main components? Obviously, we're going to add the DP pack, which will take us up to current technology. But what are we actually going to do to any other kit? So you could have a 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, TD20, 15, 11, 9, whatever combination, can't you? So what would someone need to do to just revamp it?
Well, we're going to, of course, as you mentioned, add the pack, but we're also going to replace a couple of the mesh heads.
Cool. So this is where we bring one of these in. So these are power plies that you can buy individually and put on your acoustic kit or whatever. They're made by Remo, and they are basically mesh heads.
That's it. They're the same standard 2-ply mesh head that you'll find as the original heads. It's just the logo is slightly different because we can use them for V-drums, or we can use them on an acoustic kit.
So we've got a 10 and a 12 because on this particular kit, they're the only sizes the drums comprise of. If you had different kits, you might need an 8-inch one or a 6-inch one. So obviously we've just got these two. We're going to give 2 as an example, but obviously you'd need to do all of them. So, but they're super easy. They're on the website. They're not too hard to do.
We're going to do that, and we're also going to clean up some of the rubber because they get stick marks on them. Sometimes the rubber can oxidise.
Isn't new like this one, so
absolutely, yep.
It could look fairly vintage on the underneath like this one does.
We can't change that.
I don't want to. I probably just should have undone this before.
We'll speed up the sequence, don't worry.
It's fine. So, A, you've got dust, and B, you've just got general stick marks and scrape marks and things like that. We're going to, hopefully before and after, this to this.
That's right.
So what are we going to use for that?
We are going to use a kind of silicone spray cleaner, the kind that you would use in your car. So it's the kind of thing that you could go down to your average car supplies shop where you buy the car shampoo and the polish and the wax, and you're looking for something that is an interior cleaner or interior dresser with silicone. Cool.
And if you buy a spray one like this, spray it on the, not your hand, spray it on the cloth, not the instrument. If you spray it on, and do a tester, that's probably the other thing we should do.
Yes.
I always do a little tester underneath just to check, but if you were then just to spray directly on it and it didn't work, you just end up with a horrible patch. So always spray on the cloth and always do a little test. But silicone based is basically what we're rolling for.
Silicone based detailer is always the stuff that's worked very well for me. Yep.
And then obviously this will get cabled up, but we're not actually touching any other cables or hardware. So we're going to add the DP pack, but whatever kit you have, all the current hardware stays. So what you can do is add the symbol that we're going to take off as a extra pad, extra crash or whatever, if the module's capable. So
Sure.
this one will plug in via UPS. We're not going to get like a delivery service. USB, and whatever symbol you've replaced this with, you can have as an extra.
Hang on. Are you saying that...
We're going to take our ride off.
Yeah.
It's still going to exist.
Oh, yeah. Obviously
So as long as the module can take it,
yeah.
it'll be an extra one.
Yeah, the reason I said that is because I was worried that you were suggesting that
Oh no, USB to
you
cable.
could use the ride input.
No.
Because you're using USB, which you can't. No, you're right. That would just go into the auxiliary. Yes.
See, we won't cut that bit because it's a legitimate argument, and I won. So, what's the extra top tip tool that's near your right foot?
Yeah, this one. We are going to use a dry paintbrush. It hasn't got any paint on it and no water or anything on it.
Or
just a
ashtray.
paintbrush.
We haven't stolen it from the barmaid. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just going to use that to get in all the places where you'll find dust. Lots of Rob's dust. It is used TD10. And we're going to use that to get in there and just get that stuff off and clean it up.
And the other top tip is get a clean one, obviously, but get a microfiber for dusting everywhere, because then it won't go in the heads and things.
One last tip is if your mesh heads are in good order and you don't want to replace them, you can actually remove them and you can wash them. You could put them in some sink of lukewarm water with a little bit of something like washing up liquid, the kind of thing you do your dishes with. Not loads, just a little bit, and something like a nylon bristle brush, the kind of thing you'd use to clean your nails, and just give it a wash in the water. Leave them to air dry for a good few hours and make sure they're completely dry before you put them back on the V-drums, but that's also something you can do just to rejuvenate your mesh heads.
They're not dishwasher safe. Let's roll. Let's revamp this and see what before and after we can get.
Let's go.
Rock and roll.
How do I get the stubborn dirt off my Roland pads? With this. Have you tried?
New from JML, the Jules Drunkard Cleaner.
This is an insane tool. I just cannot get over it.
You need to get out more,
Hey, you know
Jules.
what we...
Look at that. That's actual grime, isn't it? So, you can look through the time lapse. We did do all of it. We didn't cheat and just put all new products on. Once you've done the hardware and you've polished it and made it look nice, which actually this is spring cleaned and been quite good. What little tips did we work out? Label your cables, which in this particular occasion was already done, but just in case you've got a really old kit that isn't labelled, label them first, otherwise that is a whole wasp nest of things you don't want to be doing.
Yes.
It's
also worth mentioning, actually, if you've already got a kit that comes with a cable loom with the multi-pin connector in the back, you will need to use TRS stereo jack cables from the pads to the module, because the TD50 doesn't connect via wiring loom, it connects via
individuals.
jack cables.
Yep. Yes. That is also a good point. Otherwise, that's pretty much, from a cabling point of view, all we did. These are the two parts that we've not used, obviously, but you could just have a second, depending on how many inputs your module has, you could have another crash or a china or a splash, whatever, with the symbol, and then you could put your lovely new head on like we've done and use it as a second snare or timbales or whatever. You can just use it as another sound source. So depending how many inputs the kit has, you can recycle these. These are not useless. Otherwise, what have we got to do to set it up? What little tips we done? So check the software and firmware.
That's all up to date. So
But how would someone
great.
check it to make sure theirs is right?
So as we're speaking, the current version is version 1.06. But obviously, if you're watching and
As of now.
as of now,
Tomorrow that will change.
It could be further. So the main point is just check the Roland website and go to the product page for the TD50, either module or kits, doesn't matter. And in there, you'll always see a tab that says download. Click that, and you'll always see the latest software is available for download. And to check it, we just simply go to Setup. We press Page Down until we get to Info. Press the F3 button, and it will tell me which software is displayed in the module itself. So ready to
Easy peasy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, depending on your hardware you're plugging in, you obviously got to tell the module what you're then hitting. So
Yes.
how does someone go about that? Obviously, the USB ones, theoretically, the function button has already been pressed and the hardware has the correct firmware. How would someone change the TD50 module to whatever they're putting it on to?
That's right. You've got to change the trigger bank, so you're telling it which individual pads are connected to which trigger input. So what I've got here is it tells me that at the moment I'm using a TD50K. I'm not using a TD50K kit, but actually I can change the pads individually here if I want to. I am using a KD120 for the kick, which is great. I am using the new PD140DS for the snare, which is fantastic. For the tom one, I'm actually using an older pad here, which is, if you select PD105 or PD125 for now, that should be absolutely fine. And in this case, it's a 10-inch pad, so I'm going to choose a PD105.
If you want to know what's on them, what pad it is, usually on the bottom it will tell you what it is anyway, so you can cheat and do that.
These pads are actually TD10 pads. They're not necessarily in the module here, but the PD105 would be the closest equivalent, so that's what we're using. This tom here would be a PD125, so we can go in and choose that. And the same here for the Timbali tom, let's call it. This is already a CY12C, so that's correct. This one is down as a CY13R, but we need to change it to a CY12C as well.
And on that one, it doesn't particularly matter about the size. This is a CY14, but 12 is totally fine.
That's right. And in terms of the hi-hats here, we're just going to select VH11, even though actually they are VH12s, the original ones. VH11 would be the nearest setting, and as you can hear...
This isn't a VH.
Oh no, it's not.
This is older.
CY, yeah.
This is a CY12H.
Yeah, you're right.
For like proper nerdy vintage people.
But what you'll find
this is what happened when they weren't paired.
That's right, when it was just a solid one piece. But what you'll find is I'm playing the hi-hats there, and it's working quite well with the VH11 setting. So that's absolutely fine. We'll keep it like that. So basically, we've done that. We've set the triggers up. So we are ready to play.
And that is it. You can literally spend as much time as we did, which was what, 10 minutes, figuring out what goes where. Like I say, label your wires, otherwise you'll take a lot longer than 10 minutes setting it back up again.
But it pretty much feels now, compared to how it did earlier, you know, with a bit of spring cleaning and with the new parts, it pretty much feels like a whole new V-Drums kit.
It's less grimy, isn't it? It doesn't feel like you're going to catch the plague or something off of it, so that's fine. Features though, for someone who's either going to check out YouTube and learn how to use it, I think this is very future-proof, isn't it? You've got all the functionality in it. You can always put your USB stick in and do the latest firmware. It's pretty future-proof now, isn't it, moving forward? This could last a couple of decades.
Absolutely, and I think that anybody that's upgrading from an existing V-Drums kit, it'll be really familiar because the user interface is still a similar kind of system. So you'll find that very familiar. Even if there's extra things that you can change, it will still be familiar to you. But you'll also gain from some of the new features that are in there, like the sample load, the song player, which will play both songs and clicks together, so you can play along with those, the balanced outputs, for example, the layering inside, and of course the whole new sound. So you've got a load of different things that you're going to gain as well.
And depending on what one you're upgrading from, this has more input function anyway. So we've got 2 up, 2 down, but there's now 4 auxiliaries that we can use on top of that. So if you want a couple of splashes, China, an extra KT7, whatever, you can put any combination of hardware in the back of this, it's more than capable of taking the 2 extra pads that you've been left over with and put them on there as well as having the really cool snare and the really cool ride. That's it, it's a new kit.
Yeah, exactly.
Check out the links below. We'll stick in all the Powerfly heads, the DP pack, everything that we've done to spruce up this kit. Thank you for Jules for coming in.
Thank you.
And yeah, if you like this video, check out the TD50 video that we'll link below. And yes, Drum Addicts on Andertons TV. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the Andertons drum channel. Hope you enjoyed it. But if you're a guitar player or a bass player, you play keyboards or you're into music technology, we've got other YouTube channels that you might be interested in, and I'll put links to those in the description below. Anyway, if you want to find out more about the products we showed in this video, please click up here. If you'd like to watch another video from the drum channel, please click over here. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt like this one or in lots of other colors, click down here. And finally, if you'd like to subscribe to the Andertons drum channel, please click down here. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.